Hello, good evening. I'm meteorologist Lisa Vegas. We're going to get you back to regular programming, but we did want to interrupt this programming right now because we do have a tornado warning that has just popped up. So meteorologist Rachel Coulter and I have been watching this particular system that is now impacting those for Alexander, Catawba, and also Iredell County. So Rachel, we've been talking about this particular cell, also watching this right now, seeing a lot of strong wind speeds, cloud to ground lightning, and of course damaging wind speeds that have been popping up, especially outside of that box with that severe thunderstorm warning. But highlighted in the red, this is where we are seeing that tornado threat. And you can see this right now as we zoom in with velocity here. You can see a little bit of that rotation in the spin currently. So this is zooming in outside of Maiden, but the track is going to be towards the northeast. So watching for those right along US 16 here, eventually heading to those over in Bandy right now, but also watching just to the east of those in Duwan, I believe. And excuse me if I'm mispronouncing some of these cities, but this is the system right here where we want to watch it heading towards Catawba there. So that's where we're going to be watching out for that tornado threat. And this tag is going to continue here and extend all the way to the northeast. So Rachel has just put a tag on there for us. So Murray's Hill, this will impact you. And we're talking about the center of the circulation here for this tag for Murray's Hill until 6:55. That's when it looks like the center of circulation will impact you. Catawba, for you, that is going to continue around 6:59 p.m. once it arrives. And also Sharon, 7:08 if this holds together. 7:12, watching for Bradford Crossroads. And 7:19 p.m., watching for Stony Point as that continues towards the northeast here. So this is the tornado warning that is going to continue. Watching for it right now just to the north of Maiden here. And then, of course, really watching for those along US 16. If you have to travel or know anyone in this area, again, Alexander County, Catawba County, also parts of Iredell County, if that holds together, please alert them that we do have a tornado warning in place. Right now, this is just indicated on our radar. And of course, Rachel put a little tag right here. So this is going to be the center of circulation. Just saw a nice little update there around 6:46 p.m. Those, like we were talking about, along 16, that is going to impact the area for those who are going to be commuting and those who are going to be in their cars right now. We also have some lightning strikes, of course, as that holds together, and that indicates that it's getting a little bit stronger, but of course, watching for this to head into Catawba as well. And also watching for lows along I-40 for this tornado warning that's in place. And if Rachel, if we could put the tag on here, I want to see how long this is going to last for, this tornado warning. And also we're seeing this yellow box outside of it. That is a severe thunderstorm warning in general, another one popping up right here. So that's going to continue until around 7:30 this evening. If that holds together all the way up into Iredell County. But this tornado warning, we've been watching this over the last couple of hours, Rachel and I, and we were noticing the wind speeds really starting to pick up. We did see some rotation before this tag was also issued, but watching for that threat. Of course, on top of this tornado warning, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings as well that have been developing for those across parts of Lincoln County all the way to Iredell County. Also watching for those into Caldwell and parts of Burke County. They have been finally closing off, and this is going to extend outside of our area in Allegheny County as well. But do want to zoom in for this severe thunderstorm warning. Looks like it's slowly starting to exit for you, but watching for some small hail. We've definitely seen gusts up to around 60 miles an hour. In fact, this particular severe thunderstorm warning, we did have some nickel-sized hail being associated with some of these cells. Right now, we're trying to see and make sure we can see some of those stronger wind speeds. Hard to make out just because we are in this little radar gap right now. But the biggest threat is going to be this tornado warning right now. Zooming in, you can see that velocity right now and starting to see a little bit of that rotation. So watching for this radar indicated tornado that could potentially be affecting those. So again, I want to point this road out right along US 16 and just outside of Newton and Duwan. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize. But again, that's developing just east of you. You can almost see that little baby hook here. So that's where we're watching for that rotation. And that center of circulation where that potential tornado is, that's going to continue tracking northeast. So as we put that tag on here, again, we're going to point this out right around 6:56 p.m. So within about the next 12 minutes, Murray's Hill, you're going to have to be on the lookout for that potential circulation, potential tornado here. Catawba, if that holds together through around 7 o'clock, that you're going to be right in that center of circulation. Also watching for Sharon at 7:09 p.m. Bradford Crossroads, right around 7:13 p.m., that is going to head straight towards your area, and Luray around 7:20. Obviously, we're watching for anywhere inside of this box as this particular system moves towards the northeast. And if Rachel, if you want to tag in, how quickly do you think this system is actually moving, or this potential tornado here?
Yeah, absolutely. These are moving north and east at 30 miles per hour. So the storms themselves moving at about 50 miles per hour, but this area of rotation where we have this potential tornado moving to the north and east at about 30 miles per hour. And there's a couple of updates I want to give you guys. We've got now eastern portions of Watauga County included right now in a severe thunderstorm warning. And of course, we're going to be tracking that potential not only for areas that we're seeing in Catawba County, but even Watauga County. This is all pushing north and east. So I-77 could see some impacts from this as well. But I wanted to zoom out and show you the big picture. We've got several warnings in place at this time. So if you are just now tuning in, it is 6:45. We have a few severe thunderstorm warnings, and we have one tornado warned storm that's moving through portions of Catawba County into Iredell County, and you'll notice that eastern portions of Alexander County are also included. I've been checking in with the National Weather Service chat right now, and there's a couple more updates I want to give you and show you some of the watches that are now in place. What you'll notice is there is now a tornado watch that has been issued. Charlotte Metro is included in this tornado watch, so that's going to include our area, Alexander County, Iredell County, out towards Rowan County, Cabarrus, down into Union, Mecklenburg, Gaston, Lincoln, Catawba, and Alexander County is included in this tornado watch. This makes sense. We've been keeping a close eye on these storms, as meteorologist Lisa Villegas had pointed out, and certainly they've been intensifying. They've been picking up in coverage as well, and this tornado watch is going to go until 11 o'clock tonight. It's only 6:46, so if you haven't already, a couple of things that you can do. Certainly charge up those devices. Make sure you have that WBTV free First Alert weather app downloaded. Have those notifications turned on loud. Of course, we are here. We're watching these storms for you. We're going to keep you posted. But if a warning is issued, so let's just say a warning was just issued for your area, I'll go back to that warning now so you know exactly where that is on your screen. That, again, is going to be for portions of Catawba County and down into Iredell County. Make sure that you're on the lowermost part of your home and on the innermost part of your home, away from any windows. And certainly, Lisa, I'm going to continue to drive this radar here, if you don't mind. We're going to continue to see these showers and storms move through the area. We've got that tornado warning that's going to go until 7:30 for Alexander, Catawba, Iredell counties. And that storm is going to be moving over the interstate. So we've got I-40 that runs just to the north of where this tornado warned storm is moving. So if you live in between Catawba and Bradford Crossroads, we've got Statesville. You are right on the line of that tornado warning polygon. I would go ahead and make sure that you're inside and away from any windows, just in case you get clipped by this storm as it moves to the north and east at about 30 miles per hour. Let's give some updated looks here at your ETAs as this advances north and east. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this out towards Turnersburg. So even though that's technically outside of that tornado warning polygon, at least you'll have an idea of when you'll want to take cover here. So Catawba 701, Sharon 709, Central 734, Love Valley, you're looking at the potential impacts from this tornado warned storm at 7:39. And what's interesting to note, and Lisa, I know we've been talking about this a lot, I'm going to clear the warnings off here, at least those text boxes, and I just want to show you what we're seeing on reflectivity, which shows us just how heavy the rain is and where that heavy rain is. But we've got that one area that has some rotation. You've got that hook that's just to the west of Bandy, but we've got additional storms to the south as well that are going to have to warrant watching. I'll zoom out a little bit more just to show you the big picture. Most of this is west of Charlotte and I-77, but just because you're not in a warning now, Lisa, that doesn't mean that we're not going to have warnings later on down the road.
Correct. And I'm so happy you said that. I'm glad we're actually extended out a little bit because, you know, we have this one tornado warning, but this is going to be the line where we still have that tornado watch that includes those in Mecklenburg County. Starting to see some showers developing, but this has been a line now here, Rachel. Before these just were like pop-up storms. Now we're starting to see that development here. It's strengthening a little bit, seeing more of these lightning strikes as well. And there we go. We already have some spin in the rotation, and that's why we have that tornado warning. Can't rule out more of these tornado warnings, especially these pop-up spin-up tornadoes, especially for this line. Now impacting those, if we're talking about heavy downpours, some gusty winds as well, even though these might not be warned when it comes to those in Gaston parts of Lincoln County and stretching down into York. So Rachel already put a track on here, which is fantastic. Now we're talking about the leading edge of this line. So beginning to start to see these showers, some strong wind speeds with those outflow winds as well. Carol winds, you're going to see this around 6:54 p.m. within the next 5 minutes or so. Mount Holly, you're in that line as well in the next 6 minutes. Parts of Charlotte around 7:05. So within the next 16 minutes, Charlotte, we were talking about you getting ready for those stronger wind speeds, some heavy downpours, lightning strikes, and the potential of some of this severe weather, which could eventually kind of develop. Statesville, if this holds together, around 6:19 p.m., watching for that leading edge to impact those in Concord around 7:30 this evening. And of course, we do have those tornado warning with severe thunderstorm warnings, which have already popped up. So we have seen hail with this particular system. We've seen gusts up to around 60 and in excess of 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds. And of course, we're watching for that rotation. So I do want to zoom in back to this tornado warning that will continue until around 7:30 this evening. This includes those in Alexander, also into Catawba and parts of Iredell County. And this is going to be highlighted in this red box that you see. So trying to see some rotation here with this particular system. You can see some of these strong wind speeds here as well. I haven't quite seen the definition right now that I was seeing earlier, which is some good news. But as we take a look at that tag here for this tornado warning, we'll continue until around 7:15, excuse me. And of course, when it comes to the velocity and those wind speeds, right around 43 miles per hour. Hard to make that out depending on how far this is away from our radar system, but also watching along I-40, so Catawba, those in Sharon, Catfish here, Bradford crossings, you are under this tornado warning. That also includes those in Eufaula, and then zooming in right along right along US 90 here, and also right along US 64, watching for areas right now. I'm trying to zoom in here. Island Ford Road, this is an area that I want to watch out for here with this tornado warning, and also as we expand up Stony Point, and then as we exit parts of Iredell County here, watching also for Scotts Creek Road as well. So also seeing those strong wind speeds, tornado warning in place. So watching for this right here for that rotation as it holds together up towards the northeast. So moving right now around 35 miles per hour, I believe that is correct, Rachel? Yeah.
Tornado warning portion of that storm is moving about 30 miles per hour, and it looks like they did just issue another tornado warning, but that one is just to the north of our area. It does not include us, but if you have some neighbors up in Wilkesboro, that'll be something you'll want to pass along.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense too, because we also have that slight risk of severe weather just to the north of us, and this is going to be that same system that continues up towards the northeast. Wouldn't be surprised if we see more of these tornado warnings kind of popping up with this particular system. But of course, we have that tornado warning. We do have that severe threat when it comes to the severe thunderstorms that are also associated with this line, like Rachel was pointing out earlier, that now, look at this, Rachel, expanding all the way down into parts of Lancaster County. So really starting to get some definition here as that tracks out towards the east. And our biggest threats with these storms, which are now approaching those in Mecklenburg County, it's going to be damaging wind speeds, watching for the potential of hail, and of course some isolated tornadoes. This is going to continue until around 8, 9 o'clock this evening, as we watch this line track out towards the east. So here it is. We've got that tornado watch in place until 11 o'clock this evening. So watching for this line to continue to affect us. And we'll also keep you up to date on if we start to see some of this kind of shaving off, when we start to see some clearing. So if you're just tuning in right now, we do have a tornado warning that is in place currently for those in Alexander, parts of Catawba, and also Iredell County. You saw those nice red boxes up there. That is those tornado watches that are in place. So zooming in, we have the severe thunderstorm warning, but more importantly, this tornado warning. There it is right now. This is the particular cell that we are watching currently as this tracks up towards the northeast, watching for that tornado. And this is going to continue until around 7:15 this evening. So as we zoom in here, Rachel's got us covered here. She's behind the scenes right now. Meteorologist Rachel Coulter and I have been watching this particular cell. We have been seeing this spin. Now it is warned with a tornado. So watching for that threat. Now, right now, I believe it is radar indicated. And this is definitely impacting those over in Bandy, Murray's Hill, and Witherspoon Crossing. But really watching for those over in Bandy currently. And this is also affecting Murray's Hill Road, Hudson Chapel Road, and those along I-10. So as we zoom in, Rachel's definitely giving us a better idea. Rachel, if you want to maybe point out some of these roadways so we can give those at home a better understanding of where this potential tornado is.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Robert Rufty Lane. That's going to be right in the lane here. We've got Rosenwald School Drive as well, and I can head over to the wall, Lisa, if you do want to drive for me, and I'll point out some of these additional not only town names, but also some of the road names that we're seeing. And I think something that's really going to be important to note, it is 6:54, so we're just past the commute, but we still have those that are going to be traveling for those evening plans. And we'd mentioned it before, but we've got not only highways here, but we've got the interstate as well. So I-40 runs right through portions of Catawba County and butts up here with Iredell County. Statesville, you are not included in that tornado warning. Close enough, though, and certainly within that severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag, I would go ahead and make sure that you're in the innermost, lowermost part of your home. And what that means, if you don't have a basement, that's okay. I would just make sure that you have as many walls between you and the outside as possible and stay away from windows. We've already seen several reports, even before the storms moved in with the gusty winds that we've had, of trees coming down, and those trees can fall on power lines. So charge up your devices, especially have that First Alert Weather app downloaded so you can watch our live coverage here on WBTV, even if your power goes out. But you'll also want to make sure that you are moving yourself into the innermost and lowermost part of your home. So if you're in Catawba right now, in Catawba County, right along I-40, we've got Highway 70 that runs there, really in between Statesville, out towards Newton. Be in your safe place now. This storm, this is a supercell, and these are most capable of producing not only damaging wind gusts and hail, but also that tornado risk. You can see this hook. We're showing you reflectivity, and this just shows us where the rain is and where that heavier rain is. And so what we're going to be watching is for that rotation just to the north of Bandy, and there it is there. That's going to be moving north and east up towards Hudson Chapel Road, Catawba. Eventually, Island Ford Road is going to see some impacts from this, and Bradford crossings as this continues over I-40. So not quite to I-40 yet, but that'll be moving there. So if you have family or friends out that way, make sure that they know that we've got that tornado warning in place. And I would avoid traveling on those highways and those interstates and even some of those local roads until this threat has cleared our area. So here's an updated look at those ETAs. If you are just now tuning in, if we can switch that back over to Max 2 and have some of those ETAs there. That's going to continue up towards Turnersburg and Eagle Mills, Love Valley. There's your heads up that you could see some impacts from all of this. I know that's upstream of this tornado warning. You're not necessarily included, but if this threat holds together, if this storm holds together, you're going to see some impacts not too far from now. So let's get some updated ETAs for you. Catawba by 6:58, Bradford Crossroads by 7:10, Central by 7:28, and then eventually Eagle Mills could see some impacts. Again, you are well outside of that tornado warning polygon, but if this tornado warned storm holds together, you could see some impacts by 7:45. And Lisa, it's been interesting to watch some of these additional storms that there are. I know we've got several severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. We've got more gusty winds and heavy rain that's moving over I-77 in between Statesville and Eagle Mills as we speak. But the area of concern at this point is just south of the interstate. So I-40 will be watching for some impacts there in terms of whether or not we're seeing any power outages, trees down, and hopefully no traffic concerns out that way. Hopefully everyone is staying off the roads. If you don't mind pushing us a little bit farther to the south, I want to see how some of these storms are doing as we move closer to the I-77 corridor and down toward Charlotte. What you'll notice is we're starting to see some rain now move into the Charlotte metro. Fortunately, this is not severe thunderstorm warning. We do not have a tornado warning in place. If you're just now tuning in, that tornado warning is in place for Catawba, Alexander, and Iredell County until 7:15, but we do have heavy rainfall and some thunderstorm activity that's working over I-85 out towards Gaston County, traveling up 321 and into Lincoln County. You've got some of those showers in and around the Charlotte metro. And what Lisa's doing here now is providing us some ETAs with some of this activity as it moves to the north and east, because even though we don't have warnings now, there's fuel for these storms and we've got a lot of spin in the atmosphere. And when those two come together, that certainly promotes that opportunity for damaging wind gusts, but also that tornado risk. So certainly stay weather aware if you live in these areas. We've got that tornado watch in place until 11 o'clock. Charlotte, you'll see impacts by 7:04, Matthews by 7:07, Monroe seeing impacts by 7:12 this evening, Concord by 7:18, China Grove 7:20, Locust 7:24, and then eventually in Rowan County, you can see some impacts in Salisbury by the time that we get towards 7:29. Lisa, I know you've been over there. Have you seen any updates from the National Weather Service in regards to any reports? I know we had some reports out of Burke County with some severe storms earlier this evening, but I haven't seen any reports, at least since I was over there, and I was curious if you've had any updates in that regard.
Any updates here, Rachel, but we're definitely just watching for this tornado warning that is in place. And you know what, this is just something that we've just watched in general when it comes to some of these storms that have been developing. We've been watching for everything to align. And we actually had some dry air that was in the mid-levels of our atmosphere that's just really pushed up to the east, and everything is just bubbled up. Something we've been talking about over the last couple of hours here with this team weather, but definitely watching for this tornado warning in place. So I'm just trying to zoom in. It looks like the reflectivity is not showing up, but let's take a look at the velocity here because I want to see where the center of circulation is here. So this is what we're watching right now as we take a look at that radar. So it looks like it's right over Catawba currently. So those along US 70, US 10, this is where I want to watch out for that potential tornado, right? And we're also watching along I-40 as well when it comes to this particular system. So I do want to expand out a little bit. Looks like we might have another warning that could be popping up here shortly, but zooming right back in, so over into Catawba, this is where that potential tornado is, right? So this is the warned system, which will continue until 7:15 this evening. For those right along US 70 in Catawba, watching for you. Please take those tornado precautions immediately. If you know anybody in the area, please give them a call and let them know to get into the innermost part of their house or their property, in their apartment, wherever they are located. They want to stay away from those windows. And this is also going to approach those along I-40 as well, over into Wyke Road. Also watching for those in Sharon School Road, right along US 70 here into parts of eventually Sharon and Island Ford Road. So we're really talking about those across parts of Catawba over into Iredell County as this expands out towards the northeast. I'm going to put a little track on this for this particular tornado here, and we'll watch out and see where this is developing. So I have this moving northeast, and so as we put this track on, once again, just to give you a heads up on where this is heading, Bradford Crossroads, right around 7:09 p.m. So within the next 8 minutes, Bradford Crossroads, this is where we want to watch out for you. Take those tornado precautions right now if you can. Central, 7:27, this is going to impact you. Those in Olin, 7:35, Eagle Mills at 7:44 and 7:56. This is going to impact those in Brannan. Now, if that holds together, of course, this will be outside of our viewing area, but of course, we still want to keep tabs on this. And I'm going to take this tag off here real quick. And when we watch out for some of these tornadoes, if you are able to see any type of funnel cloud, notice that if it is halfway down, if you're saying it doesn't look like it's reaching the ground, just make sure that you pretend it is, because if it's halfway down, it's probably on the ground. We're just watching for that debris on the ground when we see situations like this. So I want to put some reflectivity on here. We're going to see where that center of circulation, there it is, just north of Catawba. Pretty interesting to see. It almost looks like a little circulation, that little hook right there, right? So this is going to continue northeast here. I'm going to head to parts of the wall, and I'm going to show you where we're also maybe potentially seeing some of those stronger systems. So that is the area of concern, right? We've been talking about it right here, and reflectivity tracking up towards the northeast. I mean, this is pretty scary to watch of that. So there it is currently. So perfect. Rachel is showing us where this is over in the Shade Lane, right along I-40. There it is. The new update right along I-40. So for those who are commuting in the area, we have that tornado that is happening right along I-40 and continuing on its progress up towards the northeast. Sharon, you are in the line and you are in the path of potential destruction here. Take those precautions currently over in Island Ford Road. We're also looking at Sharon School Road too. This is where we do have that tornado, that rotation right here. So we're watching for that as that moves up with each radar update. We're getting an idea of where that is moving towards here, Rachel. So as that continues on its path, we still have this warning until around 7:15, but Rachel, I would not be surprised if we see more of these spin-ups happening here.
Absolutely, and you make a good point. And in fact, we've got a couple new warnings, so I just wanted to zoom us out a little bit, get us back with a summary of what we're seeing out there at this time. We've got a tornado warning that is in place for portions of Alexander, Catawba, Iredell County until 7:30, and the time right now is 7:03. So just under 30 minutes left with that tornado warning that is just up against Statesville. This is going to cross over I-40, and it's going to run just to the west there of I-77. So if this this threat continues as this moves east, I-77 corridor over Lake Norman, these are areas that we're going to have to make sure that we're paying its close attention. You'll notice that an additional severe thunderstorm warning has been issued as well. That's going to be for Alexander County and northern portions of Iredell County. And when you see that orange background, so look at Taylorsville, Love Valley, Eagle Mills, even though you don't have a tornado warning, what that means, what that tells us is that the tornado is possible. So damaging wind gusts, the main concern, could see some large hail as well, but that tornado threat is there, and that's something that you're going to want to be paying attention to. Let's slide a little bit farther south. You'll notice that these storms that are moving over portions of Lincoln County and down towards Gaston County and into Mecklenburg County do not have any warnings on them right now. But remember, let me show you this if you're just now tuning in. We have a tornado watch for these locations. So even if you don't have a warning in place right now, that is not a guarantee that you won't have a warning in place later. So Alexander, Iredell, Rowan, Cabarrus, Union, Mecklenburg, Gaston, Lincoln, Catawba, and Alexander counties, you have a tornado watch that's going to go until 11 o'clock. Now, I think our risk here at home is going to end a little bit earlier than that. So Lisa had made a really good point earlier. This is likely going to get trimmed back with time, but I would just go ahead and make sure that you can hear and respond to any warnings that may be issued, even if you don't have a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning in effect for your area. In fact, I want to look at these storms that are moving over the Charlotte Metro as we speak, just to get an idea of what's going on, because at the tail end of each and every one of those storms, we're going to have to watch for rotation. We've got fuel for these storms. We also have that spin in the atmosphere. So really anything that you see on radar right now will be able to intensify and strengthen, and we could end up with some warnings. So what I'm going to do right now on reflectivity, what this is showing you, what you see on your screen, that's where the rain is and where we have some of the heaviest of rainfall. We do have some heavy rainfall moving over uptown Charlotte as we speak. In fact, I'll show you what we're seeing right now from our HD tower camera, and you can see how fast those clouds are moving. You've got a little bit of rain there on and sprinkles on the camera lens, but no severe thunderstorm warning at this time. Just wouldn't be surprised if we ended up with any warnings, even along the I-77 corridor, as these storms continue to move through the area. So let me give you another vantage point here of radar. And Lisa, feel free to step in front of that. You'll notice that we've got several warnings. A lot of those are just to the north of the Charlotte Metro.
The majority of the severe weather, right? This second half down here, it's a little more broken up. Now, I'm not saying that these storms can't pack a punch. Still seeing some gusty winds, not even ruling out maybe some pea-sized hail, but we're really seeing that nickel-sized hail, those strong winds up to around 60 miles an hour, and that tornado threat up for our northern counties, which includes those in Catawba, Alexander, all the way into Iredell County. This is where we have that tornado warning in place. So if you're just tuning in, we've been talking about some of these systems. We've got spin in the atmosphere like Rachel was talking about. We have all the conditions really starting to gel together, and that's why we're starting to see this severe weather. So right now I do want to zoom in just north of Catawba. Remember just about 5 minutes ago we were talking about how that was rolling through? Well, here is that potential tornado here, starting to get some inflow, watching for that center of circulation, which is impacting those right along I-40. For those outside of Sharon, you're getting some heavy, heavy rain currently in the area, and also watching for Bradford crossings, because this isn't too far from you. Take those tornado precautions for those in Sharon, Bradford crossings as well, and this is also impacting those along US 64, heading towards those in Bradford crossings right around 7:12. So within the next 5 minutes or so, watching for this to head directly towards you. Now, as we also expand out a little, Stony Point, you're under that tornado warning and that threat as well. And we also have, of course, this severe thunderstorm that is popping up as all of these storms now quickly track out towards the east. Rachel, I believe they're moving at around pretty quickly, around 50 miles per hour. You'll have to correct me in just a little bit, but those with that orange kind of highlighted tag can't rule out a spin-up tornado as well in the area. So even with some of these severe thunderstorm warnings that we're seeing, we do have that tag, which means it's going to be a little more intense, which means we do have the possibility of that isolated tornado. But of course, the biggest threat will be this tornado warning, which they're already shaving off that warning as we watch this system track generally out towards the east, but each individual cell up towards the northeast. So they are packing a punch and still watching for that rotation that you can see with this tornado warning, which will continue, by by the way, until around 7:15. We've got these severe thunderstorm warnings as well over into Eagle Mills. And this is also going to affect those, like, take a look at this, right along I-70. Oh, she's got the shear popping up. Rachel, that's awesome. So watching for those strong wind speeds, which are slowly starting to show up here with it when it comes to that tornado warning. So that's an indication with shear, strong wind speeds. And that's something we've been talking about, the biggest threat with these storms, damaging wind speeds. Watching for that hail threat, but so far today, only seeing nickel-size hail. Still a concern, of course, but really watching for those strong wind speeds and, of course, these tornado warnings that are still in development. So now as we shave off this tornado warning, Maiden, you are no longer under that. In fact, it looks like you're in the clear, even over into Newton. Catawba, you're starting to lighten up a little bit, which is great. And then we're also seeing those strong wind speeds picking up just as this tracks eastward. But for those who are watching for that tornado, it's just going to be north of Catawba, heading close to Statesville. Now, you're not officially under this, but I would just take those precautions if I were you. Be aware, because we have this system that is developing just to the west of you, at least watching for that potential rotation here. And as that tracks up towards the northeast, this is going to continue to affect those in Iredell County. We'll see if this tornado warning does get extended here. Rachel, if we could put the velocity, if that's popping up or available, that'd be kind of cool to see. Kind of hard to make out. Zooming in, seeing maybe a little bit of that right now, not as defined as what we were seeing just a little bit ago, but definitely watching for those in Bradford crossings. Remember, we talked about it was just 5 minutes. Now we want to take those precautions right along I-40. And of course, this is going to hold together when it comes to just the system in general. So seeing those brighter colors on your screen, when we show velocity, when it's brighter, that's definitely when we want to take those precautions, indicating higher wind speeds. And then, of course, if you get the red and the greens together, we've got that spin. But take a look at how big this particular system is now really starting to collide together. The northern half of this system, especially with our viewing area, that's where we have the severe thunderstorm warnings, the tornado warnings that are popping up. And then down to the south here, obviously highlighted behind here, you can see these boxes. That's where we have the tornado watch. So watching this system as it tracks eastward, the potential of a tornado, easily possible, including those in Mecklenburg County. However, it looks like these are a little more broken up, not really seeing a defined line here. You can see maybe some strong wind speeds, but not really seeing that rotation that we have been seeing.
Listen, shopping for insurance.
Whoa. The unexpected can happen to any of us. That's why SelectQuote makes it easy to get the life insurance coverage you need to protect your family for less than $1 a day.
SelectQuote found me a $500,000 policy for only $16 a month.
We could help you save more than 50% on life insurance.
Visit SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save.